Hi, thanks in Korea. I'm Brian from 샌드뱅크. Please introduce yourself briefly to
Sure.
our Korean audiences.
Hi, my name is Alex. I work at the Human Rights Foundation. I've been working on North Korean human rights issues for more than 10 years. And I also advocate for financial freedom around the world and for more and more people to use Bitcoin.
It's really an honor to meet you here. I've been following
Thank you.
for many years. I admire your work, books, interviews, articles, anything. I think the Korean Bitcoin community also follows you as well, but there may be not many people know exactly what you do for
Sure.
North Korea and the Korean Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So please briefly introduce your work,
Uh-huh.
Human Rights Foundation.
Sure. Well, I'll just say, by way of introduction, last year at this event, I had the opportunity to interview a North Korean defector on stage.
Yeonmi Park.
Yeah, so I got to interview Yeonmi Park, and we talked about money in North Korea, which very few people ever talk about. We talked about the currency system in North Korea and how the North Koreans got rugged in 2008 or 9 when the Kim regime basically demonetized the currency completely. And like people who are leaving North Korea understand how money can be used as a weapon against the people because they've seen it happen. They've seen their savings get decimated. And they've started to search over time for better options. And that's why a lot of North Koreans use RMB or dollars, etc. I think increasingly that's going to be Bitcoin. So I'm looking forward to thinking about different ways to introduce Bitcoin to North Koreans as a tool for them to achieve some little sliver of financial freedom. In general, my background is in human rights and humanitarian work. I've spent a lot of time helping North Koreans, mainly by getting information inside North Korea. We have a program called Flashdrives for Freedom, where we've sent over 100,000 USB sticks and SD cards into North Korea, mainly over the border with China, into black markets, and have reached probably millions of North Koreans through this effort. Entirely peaceful, education and technology focused. We don't think that the North Korean crisis is going to be fixed by the military. We don't think it's going to be fixed by sunshine policy. It's not going to be fixed by paying off the North Koreans. It's not going to be fixed by negotiations or being nice to the North Koreans. None of that stuff works. It's gotta be grassroots. It's gotta be people power. And how do you make that happen? Well, you allow them to see more of the world, to learn about what's happening, and ultimately to access a better kind of money. So I think that the combination of outside information and Bitcoin will really empower the North Korean people.
Has HRF already empowered the human rights of people from this authoritarian regime outside of North Korea?
Well, our focus is global, so we look at Saudi Arabia, Russia, China, dozens of countries across Latin America, Africa, Asia, Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Thailand. We spend a lot of time working with dissident groups all over. We have an Asian base in Taiwan where we have an event every year called the Oslo Freedom Forum in Taiwan.
Yeah.
So we work closely with Taiwanese groups to strengthen freedom and democracy all over the place. We'll be in Korea later this year, in Seoul, in late October, work to visit and get updates from the defectors that we work with and support and learn more about what's happening. So I hope to meet some of you there when I'm visiting Seoul later this year.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. You're
Yeah,
coming
should be
to
good.
Seoul this October.
I am, yeah, late October. We will we'll share more details when we finalize everything. But the main purpose of the trip will be again to see how we can best support the North Korean human rights movement. That is led by, on the one hand, people who've escaped North Korea who are now doing different kinds of work, but also South Koreans who care a lot about North Korea. So they've set up some great organizations that help get information in, help get information out, help rescue North Koreans stuck in China, help with resettlement. So obviously North Koreans who make it to South Korea are fortunate in that regard, but they are treated like second-class citizens and they don't have a lot of resources for them. So we want to help there. There's a lot of areas where we can get involved and help.
Sounds good.
And we translate. So the little Bitcoin book is in Korean, something, and for free. So let's put it this way, that's certainly made its way into North Korea by this point.
Is it already translated into Korean?
It has been for years, yeah. There's a free PDF floating on the internet that you can go to littlebitcoinbook.com and you can see, yeah.
I put the link on the YouTube video in the subtitle, so people can.
Yeah, go to littlebitcoinbook.com, go to the Korean version, and you can share it. It's a free PDF. So it's a great intro to Bitcoin.
Sounds good. So there's so many things to talk, but South Korea. I'm from South Korea.
Yeah.
Right below North Korea. It's totally different environment.
Yeah.
But why do you think South Korean people don't really realize the value of Bitcoin? It's a developed nation, but it's right underneath North Korea.
So you know more about this than me, but I would say that it's not unique to South Korea.
Yeah.
Like Bitcoin is a emerging phenomenon in every country. Even in El Salvador, which has a national Bitcoin law, most Salvadorans do not realize the value of Bitcoin. So I wouldn't be so, like there's something wrong with people in South Korea. This is a new, very different thing, a totally different structure. Money without government support is strange. Like people are not so sure about it. And if you don't study Bitcoin deep enough, you think it's just the same thing as all these other crypto scams. So it's really hard when you see all of these scams that continue to hurt people, and that you have FTX and Luna and Terra. I mean, all these things were huge in Korea, obviously. I mean, Do Kwon, that guy's a criminal. So when you have so many criminals scamming people with crypto, it's very hard for the average person to have an open mind about Bitcoin. So I think that scamming and altcoins have made it very difficult for people to start to sort of see what's going on with Bitcoin. But it'll happen over time. I just think you have to give it time. And in the meantime, we can do education, hands-on training. We can just help people. We can give resources. People will adopt Bitcoin when they're ready,
Yeah, totally. How do you think the increasing adoption of Bitcoin in North Korea will actually free these people from the authoritarian?
Yeah, well, freedom is a complex topic. No one can speculate about the freedom of the nation, which we hope comes tomorrow. It's overdue by decades. But what we do know is that outside information helps create revolutions in the mind and free individuals who then wake up. It's like taking the red pill in the Matrix, and they learn that everything they've been said, everything that they've been told is a lie. And they learn that actually things are much better in South Korea than in North Korea and in America, etc., generally speaking. So, and they learn they're not these countries are not just desolate and filled with death and suffering. That's just not true. And they learn this through outside information. I think that it might be even easier to learn about Bitcoin because it's pretty hard to unlearn propaganda, but it's pretty clear that North Koreans are well versed about money. They've seen their money disappear, get demonetized, they've been rugged. A lot of North Koreans would save in something like RMB or dollars or some non-financial asset. They would find, I don't know how popular gold is, but they know that they can't save in the currency that the government prints. So I think they're really primed to learn about Bitcoin. Way more actually interested probably than South Koreans, who have in their mind a safer currency. But even South Koreans, look at the Asian financial crisis. The Korean won has had massive depreciations over the last 20, 30 years. So you would think that both sides of the 38 parallel would have interest, but I think the interest is going to be stronger from North Koreans because it's something they need. They need a money that the government doesn't control. So I think there's a lot of optimism about North Koreans learning about this thing and then finding some personal financial freedom. It's not clear that it'll be widespread social freedom, but it allows individuals, families, entrepreneurs working in North Korea to save in a better asset and to be able to interact with the world, provided they can get some intermittent internet access on the border region, which is very possible these days. And Bitcoin's a great technology for this because you can basically generate an address. You can give it to your family, right? Or your family can generate an address, deposit Bitcoin in it, and then get the private key to you somehow. Like, there's a million different ways you can do this. Like, you could generate an address at the border on a whatever, like a Moon wallet or any kind of wallet, and then you could receive the Bitcoin, write down the seed phrase, and throw the phone away. And you could keep that seed phrase or memorize it or whatever, and then you go back to your life and you've got your savings, and it's completely invisible. And then maybe 2 months later, you can come back, get internet access again, reboot the wallet, put in the seed phrase, have access to your funds, and then maybe use it to buy something or pay more. And then you go back offline again. So actually, I think Bitcoin's like uniquely suited to being a helpful tool in the North Korean black market economy.
So I think Korean audience is listening to your speech as a fundamental question, which is, so North Korean people. So you talked about the flying out the flash drive to the North Korean border. How do they actually use Bitcoin in North Korea? How is the adoption really happening?
Well, we don't know very much. Even like human rights groups are still like learning about Bitcoin. Like, I'm helping them, but they're just starting to figure this out. So I would say like the defector groups, the activist groups helping North Koreans still haven't really quite figured out the Bitcoin thing yet, but we'll help them. But I think we know that there's some level of adoption because we know the government of North Korea has stolen Bitcoin or mined Bitcoin and then sold it. And that's not like Kim Jong-un doing it himself, right? He's got people who do this. So the thing is, like, it's like a virus. Like, Bitcoin's like a mind virus, right? So there's a small handful of people who work for the government in North Korea who are responsible for mining Bitcoin or stealing it from an exchange, and then they sell it for RMB, usually, at the border, whatever. Now that person knows there's this thing called Bitcoin, which is like this unstoppable currency. They are probably using it themselves without telling the government. And then they tell their friend, and it's like a virus, it spreads. So it's like fungus. I mean, it's just like unstoppable. So the growth is happening. We just don't know the scale of it. And we don't know, like, we don't have enough good data on like black market entrepreneurs in North Korea, like how many are aware of this, like are they using it? Like, we know that it'll be a really, really powerful solution for South Korean families who have family in North Korea to get remittance to them in a better way. Currently, you have to rely on this Hawala system where you're like trusting all these brokers, everybody takes a huge cut. I mean, you could just make this much more direct with Bitcoin. And you wouldn't have to wait weeks, you could do minutes. I mean, there's a lot of money. I think there's like, from what I saw last, somewhere around $50 million a year that gets sent from South Korea to North Korean families over this Hawala system, which is a good chunk of money. So, I mean, I think you're going to see a lot of that being done with Bitcoin or stable coins probably in the near future. I would imagine Tether is very interesting also for North Koreans because, look, I mean, Bitcoin, over time it's powerful and it protects purchasing power like over long periods of time, but it's obviously volatile. So I think that, North Koreans like dollars. Dollars are definitely stronger than RMB or definitely than the North Korean won. So, or the South Korean won for that matter. So I think stablecoins are interesting too. I don't know. I think Bitcoin is like the long-term solution though.
Do you think a technology like Machakura in Africa? So I don't know if I mentioned that.
No, because Machakura relies on a relationship with a telecom. So that's not going to work in North Korea. But, I mean, again, you don't need... I'm not even... What I'm telling you is, like, let's even assume that the North Koreans that we're talking about don't have a smartphone, have no internet access.
That's
what they can do is they can, they go to the border. Just like how families talk to their family in South Korea. They pay someone, they go to the border, they do a Skype call over a phone. They pay somebody to use a Chinese-connected smartphone, and they do the conversation. Okay? So you can also pay to access Bitcoin. but like you can be the one in control. You can have the seed phrase. So you can go to this person, like use their phone for 5 minutes, like put in your seed phrase, do what you need to do, and then you can delete the app off the phone. And you have the seed phrase, not the person. I mean, I'm just spitballing like one idea. There's so many ideas to dig in here, but we need to have like a dialogue, a debate, a conversation, research. Like we need to figure this out. I think Bitcoin can make an immediate impact on the lives of North Koreans today, not tomorrow.
True. I heard Human Rights Foundation is doing a lot of things to make the Bitcoin adoption happen
Sure.
all around the world.
Yeah.
Recently, a South Korean open source coder, Kelvin Kim,
Yeah.
has received a fund from Human Rights Foundation.
Absolutely.
I think there will be other open source coders.
We hope so.
Yeah, that are interested in this kind of process.
Yeah.
So
They need to apply.
How do they apply? How do they?
Just write to the Dev Fund. It's devfund@hrf.org. And just devfund@hrf.org. And just, if you're working on an open source Bitcoin project, especially if it has any sort of privacy or freedom angle, apply. We'll see what happens.
Are there any prerequisites?
No.
Do you require? What do they have to do?
Well, they have to be working on an open source Bitcoin project. It could be a meetup, it could be a BitDevs, it could be a conference, it could be a training session, it could be translation of stuff into Korean, it could be a wallet, it could be something more core. Like Calvin is working on a technology to allow people to download the archive node faster in Bitcoin.
It's called Utrix.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things people could do.
I see. I'm sure people are interested in this kind of process. Fun and grand.
Yeah, but especially if you can come up with ways to connect Bitcoin to helping North Koreans, we'd be very interested in that. So do a hackathon, figure it out. Yeah.
Okay. So what are some upcoming initiatives or projects you are and the Human Rights Foundation are involved in for Bitcoin?
Well, we have 3 things we do with financial freedom. We have education. So me being here, giving a talk, meeting you guys. I have 2 other colleagues that go around the world to events, Vietnam, elsewhere, to network. We also create videos, all kinds of educational materials. Second thing we do is trainings. So we'll sit down with NGOs and we'll do trainings. So when I'm in South Korea, we'll do all kinds of trainings with dissident groups. And then the third thing is we have the Dev Fund. So we give away money to projects. So those are the 3 things we're doing. Yeah.
Awesome. What are some of the advice you have for the individuals or organizations looking to leverage Bitcoin as for the activism and social change?
I think you have to consider that Bitcoin is a movement. It's early. It's being born. It's different and strange and new, and you have to be gentle with people and meet them where they are, and feel them out, and you can't be forcing anything on anybody. So, people are going to be skeptical. You can help explain why FTX is not Bitcoin. These are different. In fact, these are opposite things. Like if you are afraid of FTX, that should make you want to use Bitcoin more, because Bitcoin is the opposite of FTX. Bitcoin, you can be your own bank. FTX was trusting some company to hold your Bitcoin, and they betrayed that trust, as do so many other institutions.
Yeah.
So once you start to understand that Bitcoin is the opposite of FTX or Terra or Luna or whatever, then you start to understand that it can be helpful for you. But I would say focus on that educational stuff for sure.
All right. For the last question, would you be able to attend the conference if there's a Bitcoin conference in Seoul?
Well, I mean, if it happens to be when I'm there, yes. I'm probably not going to travel to Asia more than once, in the next year or so. But I'm coming to Korea, so let's do something. Maybe there's a BitDevs, I don't know. But let's do some stuff. I'll be there, I promise.
Good. Where can people find you on Twitter? Or
Yeah, be sure on social media. My last name, Gladstein, on Twitter. You can also follow the Human Rights Foundation at HRF. At hrf.org, you can learn more about our work, and you can visit Flashdrives for Freedom to learn more about our work in North Korea. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having us today.
My
It was a
pleasure.
wonderful time.